I think that, but you might not be in charge of everything, get to decide everything, right? So you really have to
Yeah.
listen to others as well. But you have to know when, um, what you see is definitely important for the organization, and you have to be able to communicate that. It is very important, and because the other thing too with a high growth organization is there's a lot of new, like there's going to be so many new elements, and you have to be able to explain. There's going to be like a lot of just kind of explaining of different elements and different needs, right?
Hmm.
And sometimes too, and I like to throw in, like, in terms of communication, it doesn't mean necessarily just vocal. A picture can mean 1,000 words, right? So if you look at, if you can even put together visuals that that say what you're trying to say, so graphs, reports, sensitivity analysis, whatever it is, you have to be able to kind of communicate it, and communicate it in the way that it's going to get across, because it's all about exchanging
That's
information.
good. That's awesome. And in terms of, I guess, your experience, exam works and some of the venture capitalists that you worked at, what are some common financial pitfalls that high growth companies face, and how can CPAs help, bring these up in advance, or, just help navigate through the situation?
Yeah. Well, so I think that you have to have the proper planning in place, and that helps avoid these. But what I've seen is over expansion. So essentially, trying to grow too quickly. It's important to have every kind of growth opportunity properly analyzed, from a financial end. I think that also too, when you are acquiring companies, it's important to look at,
Mhm.
the culture too, and how everything is going to play out, and those analyses are done, a lot of times working with accounting firms to go through that analysis as well. I think too, another thing is a lack of, like, cost control. So essentially, if you're growing quite rapidly, and cash flow is not necessarily um, a concern, then it's easier to kind of not analyze your costs as well. But it's important to know that, sometimes you can have opportunities come, but they're not there forever, right? So I think it's important to have a good cost control, and allocate your costs correctly. Um, I would say it's never about just cutting costs, or it's never about just investing. You have to spend in the right areas, and you have to have listen to the different departments. What are they looking
And
for?
in venture capitalist investors and stuff, even there, I think, was even the speaker was saying, is very extreme, but they're looking for companies that are growing 100% every 3 years in a row, 100%, 100%, 100% growth. Maybe say, for example, on the revenue side. So it's crazy to see, like, working for these companies is probably like a whole different animal, right? Like, they're growing so quickly that things that maybe a process that was implemented a year ago is no longer going to be feasible anymore.
For sure, exactly. And that's the thing. So you have the different phases too. And like you said, a startup phase, I mean, that's the highest growth you can get, right? You're going zero to wherever you get to, but 0 to 100 right away. And so that requires development of all new processes. But then there's also organizations that, they might not just be like just a startup recently. Maybe it's been a few years.
Yeah.
Or maybe they've, got new management and taken on
Mhm.
new ambition. Maybe they have acquisitions that they have that are taking them in new areas. Yeah.
Company business is different, but Yeah, it's interesting because I was at the Elevate Festival and at the CPA conference. They're talking about accelerating companies and startups and how CPAs can help, and that's kind of what they were talking about as companies look for investors, and investors at the end of the day eventually want their money back, right? So it's very important to some investors are different. They're a little bit more hands-on, right? Like venture capitalists, and some are banks that are just going to want their interest and whatnot. But I think it's important to kind of align the business with the type of investment you're looking for. Plus, also, they're even talking that like a lot of the startups were bootstrapped for quite a number of years, meaning not taking any investment for the first 5, 6 years until they kind of established themselves a little bit in the market just before, once you get into the investment side, then things start to get a little crazy too, right? Because now the investors are going to have their requirements and what they want and their expectations.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And so it definitely does depend. I mean, I think the venture capital route though is a great route too if you're looking for that support,
Yeah.
right? It's there's so much benefit there. The more you have that automated, the better, because there's just going to be um especially as you grow and as the company grows, there's going to be new leads of departments, and there's going to be new requests. And so if you have a good system that's able to produce all that information
Mm,
quickly and is available to you, that's a game changer. If you have to put it together yourself,
every time.
it's a lot, right? So I think it's really the better your financial system is, and I mean I think a lot of people here know that, but the more you can improve your system, um, the better. Sometimes it's challenging to get people on board, but it's really it's a fight worth having.